Hey YouTube, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about dual wielding in video games versus dual wielding in reality, how it stacks up against some of your other options. So yeah, in video games, dual wielding is a really good option a lot of the time. It's very much simplified and it pretty much works along the logic of if you've got one sword which does 100 damage, if you have two swords then you can do 200 damage in the same amount of time because you can attack twice as fast and obviously do twice as much damage, so why the hell not? So obviously you're going to go for the two swords, right? No, in reality it doesn't work that. It simply doesn't work like that. So first thing is, when you're fighting with a sword, when you've got a one-handed sword, you want as much range as you can, so you're going to be standing in profile like this and attacking, rather than being forward like that, which you'd have to be to get two swords in at the same time. So you lose a lot of range by trying to bring both swords into play at the same time. You've probably got a good 12 inches, maybe 13-14 inches extra range by fighting like this, and that would quite often be the deciding factor in a fight. So yeah, in computer games, how it generally works, so in something like Diablo or Titan Quest or something like that, you're going to be running up to the enemy and you're going to be hitting them and they're going to be hitting you, and you're just going to keep going, use health potions, use skills, etc., and just keep doing that until one of you falls on the floor dead, and you're just going to be relying on your stats being better than their stats to keep you alive. In reality, yes, it doesn't work like that. So if someone was coming at me with a knife like this, and I've got this sword, I'm not just going to stand there and let them hit me. I'm going to be attacking. I'm going to be trying to keep at a range where I can hit them, but they can't hit me. And as they're charging in towards me, I'm going to be stepping to the side, or I'm going to be stepping back, and I'm going to keep hitting them. I'm going to be going for their legs, so they have to go low and then go high, so they have to come up here, and I'm going to make it really, really difficult for them. And by doing that, I can retreat pretty much as fast as they can advance, and by the time they could get close enough to hit me, if they could magically stay alive, I'd have thrown out 5, 10, possibly even 20 attacks in the time they got close enough to attack, and so yeah, they'd just be dead. So range really is that important in unarmoured combat. In armoured combat, range is still very, very important, and if you've got the longer stick, as long as your weapon is effective against what they've got, and you're not being an idiot, chances are you're going to win. So yeah, having the extra range is hugely important. So historically, there were a few cases of people dual wielding. So Miyamoto Musashi used two swords, one was slightly shorter than the other, but I would still consider that dual wielding. However, he lived in Japan where they didn't really have shields. The only shields they had, as far as I'm aware of, were these sort of standing structures which you could just about move and use them to cover yourself from arrows. They weren't something you'd be fighting with a sword like Europeans used. So had Miyamoto Musashi been born in Europe, I think he'd have much preferred using a sword and shield instead. But yeah, I could be wrong. In Europe, closest we really had to dual wielding was yeah, sword and dagger, and I think it's certainly a better option than just having one sword. But it doesn't give you a colossal advantage. You can't bring the dagger into play whenever the hell you want. Most of the time it's going to be relegated to just defending, and yeah, you might be able to get a passing step in, or you might be able to stab them when they're closing distance and that kind of thing. But yeah, 90% of the time you're just going to be attacking with that front weapon anyway, and that's what you would end up doing if you were dual wielding two swords, if you were remotely sensible about it. So yeah, this would just be relegated to defending, and if that's the case, you may as well just have a shield at that point. and even then shields are pretty good for attacking anyway. If you get hit with a metal shield, not this plastic piece of crap, but a decent weighted metal shield, it's probably going to knock you out in one hit anyway. Even if you had a metal helm on, it's going to concuss you something fierce. And yeah, that also brings me up into another point about how weapons are balanced in games. When you do have the option to manually block in games, it's not how you would be fighting with a sword and shield. In games, so I'm bringing up my shield. If I want to attack, I can't keep myself covered and attack like that, or attack and cover over my head if they're coming from overhead. I can't block their sword down there while thrusting or anything like that. To actually attack, I have to drop my shield and hit them there and give them a good opportunity to attack while I'm open before I can bring my shield up. So yeah, sword and shield in games, virtually, well, every game that I've actually seen has been heavily nerfed like that. Sword and shield in reality is a hell of a lot more effective. So yeah, given the option, I would rather have a sword and shield. The other option, of course, is a two-handed sword. Two-handed sword, you're basically going to do twice as much damage as a one-handed sword anyway, maybe even more depending on the circumstances, and you're also going to quite often have the added benefit of having a lot more reach anyway, so you get the same benefit of attacking, doing twice as much damage as you would in a video game with two swords, but you have that extra reach anyway. So sword and shield or two-handed sword is simply a better option than dual wielding two swords of the same size. Finally, one other major difference that you would see in reality over a game is convenience. Carrying around two swords is going to be really bloody tricky and awkward. I've been out on Halloween carrying just a plastic sword. I had to carry metal ones for some bizarre reason, and wearing full armour. And even just out for the evening, that was it wasn't fun. I was sweating loads. Sword was just bumping around and getting in the way, and really awkward. And if you've got two swords, that would be a colossal pain in the arse. And carrying around a shield is also going to be a massive pain in the arse, and so yeah, I can see why parrying dagger may have been used, would have been used historically. That's pretty convenient. That's really inconvenient, and yeah, that's pretty awkward as well. They're going to be getting in the way, and it's going to be awkward. And you may as well just go for one sword at that point. But yeah, that would be pretty cool to see in games, having people use different weapons while in cities to out in the battlefield, because no one wants to be walking around town wearing full plate armor and to fucking deal with that shit when they're at the pub. It's not fun. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. So thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.